Too much cauliflower in these things. I'm not a fan. Alright, well, hey everybody, Tekking here, and welcome to my review of Dragon Ball Super episode 114, titled Fusion Wa? Kale and cauliflower fusing? This is incredible! No one would have expected this! Unless you saw the preview for last episode, which I actually didn't. I didn't get to see last episode. I actually didn't watch it until yesterday. Right before this one, I finally got around to watching 113. And not a tremendous amount of stuff happened in that one. Like, we had more development between Kale and Caulifla and Goku, you know, fighting them and kind of training them at the same time. We got to see Goku go Super Saiyan 3 again, which is always a really cool form to see. We don't get to see him break that out all too much there. Except when I think he used it against Jiren very briefly, so we got to see that there. Yeah, this is the fusion between Kale and Caulifla. You know what? I'm just gonna cut right to the chase and talk about Kefla, or Kefla, or however you want to pronounce it. It sounds like a brand of a car to me. I don't know why. Try out the new Kefla 6000. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Alright, so... don't even know where to begin with this. Okay, so most of the episode is just, you know, strengthening the bond between Caulifla and Kale. Kale having better control over her legendary Super Saiyan form now, whether you want to call it the true legendary Super Saiyan form or the controlled legendary Super Saiyan form. Like, whatever. She gets all bulky and crazy muscly, and she can still retain her control and manages to give me, and I'm sure a bunch of the other people in the fandom, really weird boners. There was a lot of that in this episode. Girls, you need to calm down, alright? I have no idea how to feel. Like, should I be, like, blown away by how awesome you are, or should I be sexually attracted to you? I don't know at this point, basically, but Goku knows! That screenshot pretty much calls it right there. So, upon fusing into Kefla, they are pretty much able to match Super Saiyan God Goku blow for blow here, and get the jump on him. Now, many of you might be irritated by this, you know, but okay, just to keep in mind a few things, alright, before you start going nuts, alright? Number one, I mean, Goku has had a lot of... he's gotten hit by a train multiple times throughout this tournament, okay? He is still not even close to being fully recovered after the whole ordeal with Jiren, and then he got pushed into a fight with Kale and Caulifla, and you know Goku. Goku's not the kind of guy that's gonna be like, okay, just... I'll train you, I'll show you the different Saiyan transformations, let me catch my breath here for a second. Yeah, that's not the kind of guy Goku is. He's just like, bring it on. So he brings it on, and he goes into Super Saiyan 3 and everything to show them what that form is, and so they can get inspired to maybe achieve that form as well. And you had the scene with Kale and Caulifla being like, we're going to achieve that form together, and they're holding hands, and they're going at Goku, you know, they're double teaming him. You know, Kale has the legendary Super Saiyan form going on, you know, it's just like all this crap going on. Goku is, you know, he's up against a wall here. He really needs to take his time and rest. What he really needs is to pop a sensu or two, but, you know, that's not allowed in the tournament, so he's just gonna have to push on through, and I guess that's what Goku does best. But even pushing himself into the God form at the end of the episode, which by the way, I just want to mention it really quickly, animation in this episode, spot on. When Goku went into God form, it just seemed like the hair and everything was a lot more detailed than usual, and I really like that. So whenever they're doing episodes where they're having big events, you know, obviously like the Goku versus Jiren episode, or, you know, the episode revealing the fusion between Kale and Caulifla, at least we're getting to see the, you know, top level animation, at least in certain scenes. There were still a few scenes that weren't that great, but, you know, when Super Saiyan God Goku appeared and when the fusion happened, it was all fairly well done. Now, as for the fusion itself, not a tremendous amount. It's definitely more Kale than Caulifla, I would say. It's Kale's overall body type. The hair is, you know, gets a little bit more spiky and taller, you know, and the eyes stay like Caulifla's eyes. But aside from that, it's totally Kale. And the reason that they were able to use the Potara fusion, because that was another thing. I was like, okay, well, they're gonna fuse. They obviously aren't gonna whip out the fusion dance, because I don't think they've ever been, you know, taught that, or they've never been shown to learn that or anything like that. So the only other option is the Potara, and we get a flashback to find out what happened with that, where Champa basically went up to Fuwa, the Supreme Kai of Universe 6, and was like, can you lend me some Potara? And it wasn't even the Potara Potara that Fuwa was wearing right now. That would have actually been a really cool, like, foreshadowing event. Like, throughout the entire tournament, Fuwa is just kind of in the background next to Champa and Vados, and he's not wearing the earrings. That would have been a cool cue up, like, ooh, where are his earrings? Is it an animation error? Or... But no, that was, they didn't decide to go that route with it. Instead, they went with, like, Fuwa just giving, like, a spare pair of Potaras to Champa, who gave them to, it was really kind of vague who he gave them to, because you have Kaba, Caulifla, and Kale. And he, originally, I think he gave them to Kale and Caulifla, but they're like, we don't want these, so they were going to give them to Kaba. And Kaba's like, I don't want them, so they're like, you know, Champa has to explain how powerful these things are. Although that brings up another question, you know, what would happen if Kaba and Kale fused, or Kaba and Caulifla fused? You know, because it's a male and a female. Would it be, are they going to go all like Steven Universe with it and just not address that issue? Or would they go like, well, whoever's more dominant, in this case, Caulifla, whoever's more dominant takes over the sex of the body? I don't know. These are questions I never needed to ask for Dragon Ball, but it's interesting to pose them, I guess. So, yeah, overall, it's that form, and here she is in Super Saiyan form. So she still has the cutesy, like, eye appearance there, so that's nice there. And so, how does she fare against God Goku? Okay, something else you have to keep in mind is that this isn't, and even Vados mentions it in the episode, is this is not a simple, you know, take all the power Caulifla has, and then take all the power Kale has, and just, you know, add it together, and boom, then you have Kefla. That's not how Potara Fusion works. That's never how Potara Fusion works. Potara Fusion takes the, you know, all the, I guess, all the best traits from each fighter, multiplies it several ways over. And that's what you get. You get a whole new being. You know, not the sum of just, you know, two parts together, but a whole new being with multiplying the factors of strength and speed and, I guess, intelligence, and also negative emotions like the arrogance and boastfulness that you had Vegito exhibit. Potential, too, I think is a big one, like the overall fighter's potential. And I think a big part of this is the fact that Kale already did have that tremendous potential to go into the legendary Super Saiyan form, a form that Caulifla couldn't do, a form that Kaba couldn't do. Most Saiyans can't do that. So already, just the raw potential from Kale alone mixed with Caulifla's potential, which is not as great as hers, but still pretty good. I mean, she jumped from Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan 2 in a relatively short amount of time. You know, I think, you know, multiply that together in a fusion, and you got some pretty big potential there for your fighter. Would it be enough? And by the way, when she was transformed, she was going on this spiel about how I have infinite energy welling within me. And you had a scene with Goku and Vegeta where they're like, I don't sense an end to their energy. You know, I put that in the case of, like, hyperbole a lot of times, you know. How many other times have we heard in this story when a character goes into a new transformation, it's like, their power, it's so vast, I can't see the bottom of it. You know, so I wouldn't jump the 1,000 guns and say, oh yeah, Kefla's power, it's just infinite. She should be the one to take on Jiren. Oh, by the way, we see Jiren. Jiren gives zero. He doesn't care. He's just sitting there meditating, like, he doesn't flinch. He's just not like, We don't even get that. He's just meditating calmly. And I'm sure that if Kefla was a fighter that was really threatening to the entire tournament, like on the level of Hit or the level of the way that, like, Ultra Instinct Goku was, if we were at that level with Kefla, then I think Jiren would have, like, at least twinged a little bit and been like, huh, should probably go deal with her. But, yeah, we don't get that. Oh, by the way, remember, Potara fusions only last an hour, but that's not, well, if you're not a god. But it doesn't matter in this case, because only 21 minutes of the tournament are left. So that's actually one of the better moments to try out fusion. And one of the reasons why I thought maybe the fusion, like, even the regular fusion dance would have been very advantageous for fighters if you would have used it during, all you have to do is wait till the 30-minute time mark on the tournament, then go and get a, you know, a nice quiet space really quick to do the fusion dance, and you be set. If nothing else, I guess this proves that it's cool to fuse while you're in the tournament, because I don't think we even get to see the Grand Priest or Zeno in this episode. If we do get to see Zeno, it's only very briefly, where he's just like, oh, ah! That's all we get. Also, one more thing you have to remember here is, I was remembering back from the first time that Goku and Vegeta fused into Vegito. I'm sure we all remember that. Shining point of my childhood right there. And remember the state that, okay, so at that moment in time, Goku, his strongest form was Super Saiyan 3, and Vegeta's was Super Saiyan 2. And that made Vegito who was strong enough to go toe-to-toe with Boo after absorbing, Mystic Gohan or whatever. And even when I was a kid, I remember thinking, like, wow, we spent so much time hyping up Mystic Gohan and how strong he was, and now Boo absorbed Mystic Gohan, and he has all that power. And now Goku and Vegeta fuse. At the moment, I thought it was going to be more evened than it was. Bottom line is, Potara fusion really should not be messed with. And we even saw that with Zamos, and so it's something that really does bring fighters up to a whole new freaking level there. So, given the fact that Goku's kind of in a weakened god state than normal, and the fact that Kale has all this potential, and Kefla still has a potential, but just not as much, and how much, the multiplication factor of all these abilities in that Potara fusion, and considering they're in, overall fairly good fighting condition compared to Goku, all the crap he's went through, as I stated, yeah, I could see how they could get a few hits out on Super Saiyan God Goku. Now, if Goku was at top, physical condition, and he went blue, Kaioken, and all that nonsense, I think it would be a much more evened out fight than what we're getting. And also, you have to figure Goku was not expecting this. He did not expect them to whip out the Potara. It's probably the last thing on Goku's mind. But Goku's always good. He's always good to adjust. We always know Goku's good at that kind of shit. And we all know Saiyans, in general, Saiyans are good at evolving while in the midst of battle. That's one of the defining character traits of a Saiyan. While even they're in the middle of the battle and getting their shit kicked out of them, they can, get a collected head, and they can figure out a way to improve their techniques and get stronger on the fly. That's something that's always been the case. So yeah, right now, from what we've seen so far, Fusion, Kefla, and getting a few hits on God Goku, managing to, outmaneuver him a little bit, I think that makes sense to me. Right now, I think that makes sense. There's still a lot of ways to go with this, considering that the personality mix, we don't really know exactly how well that did, although Kale and Kefla do have, a kind of sisterly bond at this point, and that's kind of got brought to a whole new level in this episode, which means their fusions a little bit more agreeable than Vegeta's and Goku's were, because whenever Vegeta and Goku formed and made Vegito, he was incredibly arrogant to the point where he would make all these really stupid judgment calls. Would Kefla make that those same problems so far? I don't know. But that's pretty much it there. As for the rest of the episode, nothing really major seemed to happen. The biggest thing was Frieza. Frieza interfered, and I think Frieza's point at this point is just I can't defeat Goku, I can't defeat Vegeta, or maybe rather, I'll save them for last, so I'm just going to eliminate every other Saiyan I see. So he tries to get the jump on Kefla and Kale, but Goku stops him, just Frieza, this is my fight now, mister. You go in the corner and you wait till I'm finished. And so Frieza's And then some weird, the Kamen Rider dude from Universe 2, I think it was, or maybe it was 3, I can't remember which, I think it was 2, shows up and does this, my ultimate transformation, Frieza, into my speed mode! You will never be able to catch me! And then he just speeds away, I guess expecting Frieza to chase after him, and Frieza just, funniest line, sounds like something straight out of the Abridged series. Frieza's just witnessing all this nonsense, and he speeds away, and he's just okay, I'm just going to ignore that. So that was a pretty good fun. So Frieza's more comic relief recently. Haven't you noticed that? At least a little bit more comic relief whenever we cut over to Frieza. I don't know. But really solid episode, really good. Got to see a new fusion. That's always good to see. And I don't think it's going to be infinite power or anything like that. But we'll see what rabbit hole this could go on now. I'll have a little bit of suspension here to see exactly how far this fusion can go. If it's just ridiculously OP to the point where it's Goku's going Super Saiyan Blue, she's still beating the crap out of him, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken still beating the crap out of him, be alright, I think you might be going overkill on this one a little bit, but you gotta give some leeway considering it's a Potara fusion with a legendary Super Saiyan, so I'll give a little bit of leeway, and with a damaged Goku. Alright, fair enough. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Hopefully next week we'll get a little bit more of elaboration on this and see where this fight's going. Hopefully we'll get a conclusion as well. Thanks for watching. Continue to like and subscribe to my channel and all that good stuff. Tekking101 signing out, and go try some kale chips. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but it's superfood. So yeah, it's all that good stuff. Signing out.